Hey, this is the Disney Spirits podcast, episode 7 for August. It is August, right? I think it's August. Anyways, today's top 5 list, worst attractions in Orlando. Personal intros. I'm Gary. I believe that's Joe. Joe?
Oh, wait. Hey, yeah, it's me. That's me. Hang on one second, Gary. Let me just get the okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. All right.
All right. All
Yeah.
clear. All clear.
I got the all clear, so we're good. All right. Yeah. As you can tell, I've been to the parks lately, so it's been happening a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, how you doing, Gary?
Doing good. What do you think of the COVID beard?
I love it. I love it. I see you're still in your team's still in the playoffs. I see. got the hockey beard going.
That's right. So it's good to see you, Joe. I'm glad you're still around.
Yes.
Back to the parks.
Well, it hasn't officially been 2 weeks since my last trip, so.
Yeah, we'll wait.
But it's almost been that 10 days or so. So I think I'm probably good.
Well, welcome, Joe. So, me and Joe, we love theme parks and cocktails. And isn't life better when those two go hand in hand, Joe?
It most certainly is, Gary. You hit that right on the nail on the head.
I know what you meant. Hey,
yes,
cheers.
Yeah, right. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. So, Joe, we got a giveaway.
We do.
We're right with these giveaways. We got giveaways galore. So here's the big thing. Got to listen, like, share, subscribe. All the things you do on any of the channels we're on, YouTube, iTunes, Podbean. We're now on, what are we on? We're on TuneIn,
Spotify.
Spotify. We're everywhere now. So
Yep.
Like, subscribe, comment, give us any suggestions, any of that kind of stuff. Just let us know, and we will pick a name at random to get the
glass. Krakatoa punch glass from Trader Sam's.
It's pretty awesome. I'm going to win it this time. There's no doubt.
Gary, you're
That's
not
how it's gonna have
I'm
to go.
sorry. You're not eligible.
Well, it's pretty awesome glass. We'll
is.
see.
It is a very awesome glass, without a doubt. As are most of the Trader Sam's glasses.
Sure enough. So true. So as always, feel free to email us at thedisneyspirits@gmail.com. Give us any suggestions. Be nice. The internet is a mean place. It's a mean place.
Heartless.
But heartless. Give us some suggestions. Anything you want to hear of our top 5. Anything you suggest for our top 5 list. Any drink suggestions. Feel free to rate us. But again, be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah. Hop out to our YouTube channel where we have a lot, unfortunately, our faces made for radio, as we've said many times. But also,
I suggest Spotify or iTunes or something.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling brave, go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, we might have a surprise up there soon too. That video. So we'll see. It's funny. We'll see what you guys think of it, and you guys can let us know if it's something you want us to keep doing. It's basically what happens when people have a lot of drinks and talk podcast. I'm sorry, not podcast. Theme parks. Yeah, that's what happens. So.
See what happens when people have a lot of drinks. This is just one drink.
This is just the. This is my second.
Oh, okay. All right. You made one before. Okay. All right. I stand corrected. I'm sorry. I just made one, but mine's a double. So,
So I said YouTube, right? Hop out to YouTube, check out all the videos. And I guess we have a sponsor still. Our sponsor. Joe, our sponsor?
Our sponsor is Dreamport Creative Studios. And they... here we go. Dreamport Creative Studios. They're on Etsy and Redbubble. Have around-the-world lanyards and other Disney-themed downloadables, as well as craft brew-themed stickers and T-shirts. And they did our logo, and we thank them very much for it.
Sounds good. Stick around, even though we'll have to clean that part up just a little bit. You should probably know right off the bat who our sponsor is. We only have one so far. If anybody wants to be a sponsor, let us know.
I knew the name. I just didn't know the rest.
So Joe, let's move right along because our last podcast was so ridiculously long. Holy smokes! Let's move right to drinks because again, I feel like drinking mine.
Double time. Gary, you go
All
first.
right. Oh, it's my turn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Mariner's Mojito is my drink. Definitely will be up on YouTube. My making of the Mariner's Mojito will be up on YouTube hopefully later. Sometime sometime soon. I almost say this week, but time just doesn't really matter anymore, Joe.
No.
It's just
I've got like they said in Louis Armstrong saying, we got all the time in the world.
So Mariner's Mojito. Pretty much a regular mojito, but mojito's super tasty cocktail. This one's from the Banana Cabana poolside bar at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. Cruzan rum, Cruzan Disney Disney Select single barrel rum, lime juice, mint, pure cane sugar. Made mine with a little simple syrup, and topped with soda water. Got myself a nice mint leaf as garnish, little lime. But you know what? I meant to mention the coup de grace here. Wait a minute. It's really not a drink at Disney until you got one of these bad boys going in it, right?
Oh, it's beautiful, Garrett. That is beautiful. By the way,
this much better all of a sudden.
Absolutely, always with the flashing light cube makes a drink. But the Cruzan single barrel Disney Select, I guess that's kind of like they went to the distillery and chose their barrel. So that's pretty cool, actually. I didn't even know that Cruzan did that. That was something that really mostly bourbon distillers did before. So this is kind of cool, actually.
I think that's really cool. I was talking to you earlier, but as you know, it was kind of a surprise because they had that. I forget which one it was. Bacardi. It had an incredibly long name.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, the 8-year Bacardi Grand Reserva, Bacardi Grand Reserva. It was. I think that's what it was.
Grand Reserva, Ron, something or other. Although I did look it up online, and everyone was giving it kind of low ratings, so I just went with the regular special, rum. Right. I made my drink. And that's delicious. I mean, that's kind of like a good mixing rum. It's got a good flavor.
Yep.
Mixed well with everything. So.
Yep.
Next time, I'm definitely going to get one of these special Disney single barrel rum like that. Yep. Pretty cool. What are you drinking?
I have, by request, the Krakatoa Punch. And who gave this request to us, Gary? That was
Aaron Hicks.
Aaron Hicks. Okay, Aaron asked for the Krakatoa Punch, so I was braved the Krakatoa Punch, and it's 10 ingredients.
I like that.
And made it.
You need like a full lab. Never mind.
Of course, this comes from you need a lab, right? Exactly. And this came from Trader Sam's Grog Grotto at the Polynesian Resort, and I want to give thanks to Theme Park Professor and Chip and Company. They both had this recipe on their website. So that's where I got this recipe. And it's 1 ounce of Pyratt XO rum. Now, most of the time I would say you could just use any dark rum. Pyratt XO is like a Demerara from Guyana. But this one has kind of a orange, almost like a Grand Marnier taste to it. So this rum, I think, is kind of important. The other rum is 1 ounce of Sailor Jerry's, which also has kind of a unique taste to it. So I think you got to go with the 2 rums that they specify. 3 ounces of Gorilla Grog. We'll get back to that in a moment. A 1/2 ounce of almond syrup. 1/4 ounce of Grenadine. Combine all ingredients, shake well, and serve. Now, Gorilla Grog. You might want to know what's that. Tiki, back in the day, Trader Vic and Don the Beachcomber, a lot of times they would have different ingredients called like Don Spices #2 or whatever, and have all different ingredients in it. They didn't want their bartenders to know exactly what was in the drink because then they could go to another bar and steal that drink recipe. So they would come up with these things and say, well, just put a couple ounces of Don Spices #2 in it. Well, the Gorilla Grog is kind of like that. It's 1 ounce of passion fruit juice, 1 ounce of orange juice, 1 ounce of guava juice, 1 ounce of pineapple juice, 2 ounces of lemon juice, a 1/4 ounce of Orgeat, which is something that you will get is an ingredient in Mai Tai. It's kind of an almondy syrup, and a 1/4 ounce of Falernum, which we've gone over before,
Falernum.
which is another kind of lime almond syrup. So Gary's favorite Falernum.
My Falernum.
So you see the Gorilla Grog has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ingredients alone, and then that makes this a pretty complicated drink. But it is delicious. I will tell you, it's delicious. You put it in the authentic glass with a little umbrella straw and a zombie head stir, and it's really good. So Aaron, that one's for you. Thanks for requesting. Thanks for commenting. And anybody else that wants to see a specific drink or a specific topic in the podcast, please feel free to comment. Let us know.
Awesome. Quite the mix.
Quite the mix.
Man. By that point, I'd be like,
well, when I first looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's only got a few ingredients. And then I'm like, well, Gorilla Grog, what's this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, just a few ingredients.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cool.
Anyway, so.
All right. So, awesome. Enjoy while we're recording this. Yes, so moving around, a few things from our last podcast. Now, because the last podcast was something like, 23 hours, 27 hours, something like that, I don't remember. It was long podcast.
It was about as long as the entire Lord of the Rings saga. Pretty much.
We've had great thanks from people who thanked us for splitting it in two.
Yes. We'd also like to give a special shout out and thanks to anybody who watched both parts in their entirety. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And now wake up. So a couple things from last podcast. It was a long podcast. We had a bunch of drinks, so we had a few fixes. Most of them were for me, honestly, but I think I got you on one of them while I was editing the video. But one of them is the picture that I put up from Mo Rocket on the video. I don't know. Somebody noticed in the background that the Epcot ball has the Mickey hand wand in it. So the picture was from 2002, 2001.
That speaks to the longevity of Mo Rockin'.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Tells the Mo Rockin' story.
That was the whole story. That's how long they've been playing on in World Showcase.
Yeah. The beer in Norway, Joe.
Yes.
Berg, not Carlsbad.
Yes.
Said interchangeably. Yes. It was throughout the times talking about it. Said Carlsberg 3 or 4 times, but Carlsbad just as many times. Yeah, that's what happens.
I think by the time we strolled into Norway, Gary, we were.
Yeah, we
were already. But yeah, as we know, Carlsbad is a city in California, as well as the Carlsbad Caverns, which are in New Mexico. So. It is not a Norwegian beer, nor any Scandinavian country's beer. Although sometimes when I taste it, I might go, that Carl's bad. Maybe that's where it came from.
Like I said. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you do. You get them, right?
I also mentioned that Donald in Mexico wears a scarf. I have no idea why I said that, but he wears a poncho. I knew what it was. For some reason, I said scarf.
The Harry Potter thing, you know.
Yeah. Wrong park.
Wrong park.
He was wearing a Hufflepuff park.
Yeah, exactly.
Hufflepuff scarf.
Got a Hufflepuff scarf on.
All right. So those are thanks for pointing those out, everyone. Appreciate that. Always like to hear our mistakes. Please note that Joe makes way more than I do, because I do the editing.
Yes, of course, of course.
That's how it works.
So Gary just edits his mistakes out.
That's
You know,
right.
mine just stay right in.
Enhanced. So
He flashes on the screen. Mistake. Slow it down.
Yeah.
Let's see that one again in slow motion.
Awesome. All right. So we're not going to do theme park news. We're going to talk about Joe's latest visit and some of those observations, specifically about specific attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So take it away, Joe. I'll add color commentary wherever I see fit, but I'm gonna let you have the stage.
All right, sounds good, Gary. Before we start talking about the worst attractions in Orlando, I want to talk a little bit about one of the best, if maybe not the best attraction in Orlando, and that's Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance. So, my last visit to Disney was not this past weekend, but 2 weekends ago, and I had not, as of yet, ridden Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance. So, was really looking forward to it. So, you know, I spent the week practicing getting boarding groups, and pretty much sweating it out. I mean, feeling all sorts of pressure. Like, if I don't get this boarding right now, you would think it would get better with the lowered park attendance, the reduced attendance that they're letting into Hollywood studios now. No, it's worse. These boarding groups are now going in 15, 20 seconds, sometimes 10 seconds in the morning. So, I mean,
is it partially because of the reduced amount of people can get on the ride?
It probably is. I mean, you know, there's probably, you know, there's definitely less people going on the ride. On the other hand, there's less people in the park too. So it should all be relative, right?
Right.
So, I mean, here's the experience. I practice all week. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good at this now. You know, I think I'm going to be able to get a boarding group. We pull up to the toll booth for the parking lot. And there's already, this is 5 minutes after 9, the park opens at 10. There's already, maybe, I don't know, 100 cars in front of us, at least. So we're sitting there waiting. Everybody's there for the same thing. We all, you know, they're all there. They're all there for the same thing. So at about 9:15, they started letting people through the toll booths. And we were parked in row 3. Everybody gets out, of course. We trudge up to the temperature check and then the bag check. I will say the bag check at Hollywood Studios is like greatly improved. It's so much better now. Yeah, they have
to use that. Oh my God.
You can leave everything in your bag now, except if you have like a stainless steel water bottle or metal water bottle. Anything metal like that has to come out of your bag, and you hold it in front of yourself. But everything else can stay in your bag, your backpack, whatever your pockets. Just walk through, and you're good. So this makes things a lot faster. So that was good. We get through, tap in, into the park with our magic bands. No more touching the no more fingerprint.
Yeah.
That's gone for now. And find a spot on Hollywood Boulevard to sit, and I found a nice shaded bench. Actually, I was lucky. So we're sitting there from like 25 minutes after 9, and I mean, my hands are sweating. I'm like nervous. My wife,
just like every good vacation.
My wife is just like, just like every fantastic vacation, right? This is the great. And I'm thinking to myself, here's me. I'm an annual pass holder. I have another reservation for Hollywood Studios at the end of this month, so I try it again. But imagine the people that are here. This is their one shot. They're coming back again in 5 years or whatever. Disney's been advertising this ride as like, this is the main ride of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And it's been open it hasn't been open for 8 months, but it's been closed partially. But you would hope they could still work on it while it was closed. I don't think they did, though. And they probably should have been working on it, because it's kind of ridiculous that, by the way, at 10 o'clock, everybody's looking at their phones before 10 o'clock. They're all there for the same thing. 10 o'clock on the dot, everybody touches their phone. Everybody's a collective cheer and groan goes out. Cheers from the people who got it, groans from the people who didn't. There's people high-fiving in the middle of the street. It's like, I was in boarding group 6, so I did really good. So this is not sour grapes or anything. I made it.
It's all the practice. It's all the practicing.
It was all the practice, actually. But
I wish you had Amy video the crowd. That would have been awesome.
It would have been great.
Yeah.
She was pretty amazed by it, actually. She was like, oh my God, everybody's high-fiving and everything. It's like, this is amazing. But look, this is the marquee attraction in their brand new marquee land, and the numbers just came out. I don't think Disney had the big bump they expected from Star Wars, and I think this is part of it. Universal had a big bump from Hagrid's, but they didn't have the bump they expected from Star Wars. And I
gotta say, I think Disney scared everyone about the opening and how crowded it's going to be, and everyone all these extra reservations that people need, all that stuff. Right. It scared people away. There's no way. Well, that's one of the big complaints about the park. It's crowded now. You don't want to go into an even more crowded area. So Disney scared everyone about not just about the ride. I'm talking about the whole Star Wars area. It's everyone panicked.
I agree. I totally agree. But the ride specifically is the market, and it is fantastic. It is unbelievable. And but whatever is making it be not reliable or not have the capacity that a marquee attraction needs, I mean, if they can't get it going in another few months, I think they're going to have to redesign something or change something, because you can't have this go on in perpetuity. There's going to have to come a day where people can just walk in and stand in line. When Jaws first opened at Universal back in 1990, it was different than the Jaws most of us remember. It was a lot more, I don't know, not detailed, but more intricate.
Oh yeah.
I think
the shark grab onto the boat.
The shark would grab the boat and
yes.
shake the boat and everything. But it was so unreliable. So they closed it and redesigned it because they realized this is a major theme park. People have to be able to stand in line, come in, go stand in line and ride it. Even if they're going to wait a couple hours, 2-3 hours, whatever. They have to be able to go wait in line and ride. You can't advertise a ride and then nowhere in the advertising of Rise of the Resistance or they did send texts and everything. You can join a boarding group, but nowhere did it say you better be there because it's going to be gone in 15 seconds.
Right.
You do get another chance. You do get another chance at 2:00, but it's gone in 15 seconds then too. And you're not guaranteed to ride either if the ride goes down. So this was $1 billion investment for them. And I know Universal took a lot of flack for when Hagrid's opened. There were 10-hour lines and then 6-hour lines and 5-hour lines. But, I give them credit for working at it and now finally getting Hagrid. And Hagrid's is designed for capacity because the conveyor belt, I think we've talked about it before. When you get into the motorbike, the conveyor belt's moving. So you have to get on the motorbike and then the person behind you gets into the sidecar. And my wife and I rode that a few weeks back and we were the only people on the train. So they've got that thing going pretty good now, although it did have a fire, I think, recently. And I think Alex,
cleared out the people on the train you were on.
I think there was lightning at Galaxy's Edge and Rise of the Resistance was down. Yeah, I can't blame them for that. That's it. Yeah.
Gosh, that was quite the lightning strike.
But I really, because the ride is so good. I hope they can straighten this stuff out. But they're not getting any kind of. Everybody's like, oh, it's so great. You don't have to wait in line. Well, it's great for you, but it's really not great for everybody. If you get a boarding group or you're one of those people that does, sure, it's great for you, but it's not really an ideal situation. And they're not getting any kind of criticism for this. So it's kind of strange. It's basically in beta or it's soft opening. It's soft open right now. There's no way you can call this fully open because it's not. And I think it's a fantastic attraction. I hope they get it going to the point where people can wait in line and just ride it, because it would be a shame if they had to change it. But if they can't, I really think they do have to make some changes to make it so people can ride it and make it reliable, you know.
Absolutely. I totally agree with most of that, but I will say, like, it's clear that Disney doesn't want people waiting in line, like what, because they saw what was happening to Hagrid's.
Well,
they
did. They did
hundreds of people waiting in line for 6, 7,
right.
X 10 hours,
right.
And that takes people all out of the park. And those people if those people aren't specific, like you said, if somebody is vacationing, those people didn't realize what they're getting into, wait for 4 hours, and then they're like, I'm out of here. This was a total waste of 4 hours out of the 6 that I get to spend in this park. I'll see you at guest relations. You know what I mean? They probably try to avoid all that.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's still, kind of, damned if you do and damned if you don't, because
exactly.
But and Universal did have 10 hours, and then it kind of went to 6, and then there were 5 hours. But by the third week or so, they were down to about 3 hours for the most part. And look, here's the way it is: you walk in, you want to wait 3 hours, you're more than welcome to. You don't, go enjoy the rest of the park. But at least you have that option.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming specifically, I'm a Star Wars nut and I want to ride Millennium Falcon and Rise of the Resistance. Well, unless you're there at that opening or at 2:00 and your fingers are quick, supposing, like I have a not a brand new, but a later model Samsung phone. You have an Apple phone. Supposing someone has an old iPhone, and they don't have a chance. They really don't have a chance. And it's not fair. That's not fair. It's really not. So that's my rant right there. Nobody's giving Disney any.
It's a good rant.
Yeah, nobody's giving Disney any guff over Rise of the Resistance, and I got to give them a little bit of trouble over it. I mean, I just feel like they got to do something about it. Or I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're working on it. They certainly, because it can't run like this forever. So.
What's happening what's happening in California with it?
Well, they're not open now. I don't think they're open now, right?
They're not open at all. But did they ever get a chance? I'm trying to remember if they ever got a chance to open. I wonder if it got to that.
I think they.
I think they did.
I think they did. Yeah, they opened. Because the Florida version opened on December 5th, and I think the California version opened the next month. I want to say January. I don't know. I can't remember. This year has been like the complete wash.
It was open when we were there in February.
It was
boarding groups. The thing, because now I'm remembering that right when we got. I think we're.
It was open. That's right.
It was open because we didn't get the boarding group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, that was irritating.
It's irritating. I'm sure it's very irritating for everybody. I mean, it's like I said, I don't think it's fair right now. So anyway.
Yeah.
That's it.
So next podcast we'll have to make sure we talk more about your visit to just hear how it went. All the new fun and exciting things. You had I liked your room towards SeaWorld there. You have perfect the fireworks. We'll talk about that. That was awesome.
We've had a lot of good luck with hotel rooms a few times we've gone up there because we've gotten some great views. This time we were facing SeaWorld, and we had a view of all the coasters, and then when the fireworks were going off, we were able to see the fireworks right from our room. So that was cool.
Pretty awesome. It made SeaWorld look like a serious coaster park. It was just coaster on the skyline.
It's kind of getting there. Yeah, it looks like awesome, it really did. It looks like a serious coaster park, especially from that angle. Yeah. But it's got some good coasters now. They did announce that Icebreaker and Iron Gwazi over at Busch Gardens are not, and any of the other ones at the different Busch and SeaWorld parks, not open until 2021, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, you've got reduced attendance, and there's no sense in opening these rides that you're trying to drive attendance with these rides.
Let's drive up attendance.
Let's drive up attendance. SeaWorld did announce that they are going to have a limited Halloween and Christmas events, which they are going to be the only ones in town because I think Disney and Universal. I don't know if Universal canceled their Christmas event.
I think. Oh,
Yeah.
the Christmas.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think Disney said no very merry Mickey's Very Merry Christmas, and no Halloween party. So and we know Halloween Horror Nights is not going to happen. So SeaWorld's going to be the only game in town for that, and I'm sure they'll get some people. Hopefully they can. Well, they're limiting attendance, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to let anybody in past what they can handle. So
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Yep. Should be. Should be.
All right. So should we? You want to move on to the top 5 list?
Let's move on to the top
worst attractions in Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are we doing this one? There's so much good in the parks, right? So much good, and then there's these. These are the ones not well thought out. Budget reduced. Something was going on during construction. Something in the park. So hey, let's just throw an attraction here. Let's so we can say we have 15 solid attractions. Let's just chuck this one up there and not really give it much of a thought.
Let's get rid of this attraction and put in this inferior attraction.
Oh, don't get me started. There's a couple on my list right there.
There's a couple on my list like that too, my friend. Yeah. My number one, I can barely say the name of it without getting infuriated.
I feel like we have to say number one because we may have had this conversation.
Yes, we have a shared distaste for this attraction, I think.
Absolutely. I cannot stand it. And I've been forced to go on it a few times. My daughter.
Yes. I hear you. The things we do for children, right?
All right. So move right on to our top 5's worst attractions in Orlando. I will. Is it my turn to start, or is it your turn to start? I don't remember, but
I can't remember, Gary. But you're welcome to go first.
I got the floor. My number 5 is might be shocking to some people, but it's the Kali River Rapids. Ooh. I do not like this ride.
Wow.
Here's why I don't like this ride.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I figured I'd have to throw in one that's kind of controversial because.
Yeah. No, that's. I agree with you, but go ahead. You got the floor.
Not only do I not love getting wet rides in the parks because nothing's worse than walking around with wet shoes and wet underwear.
Right.
Hate it. Drives me crazy. But this ride is so short. Clearly, and well known for having its budget reduced. This ride was supposed to be, I think, 2 times or 3 times longer than it is.
Yeah.
This thing comes out of the gate. It's like, hey, they're cutting down the forest. Go down a slide, take a couple turns, and it's done. And you're
I don't think they even do that anymore, do they? I mean, I think the theming is shut off now. They used to have the burning forest. They don't even have that.
It's been so long since I've been on there.
Yeah, I know.
The tanker truck sliding at you and all that kind of stuff. That's not there anymore.
I don't think any of that's there. No.
So this is one of those ones that definitely suffered from budget cuts during construction, and it shows. I was all set to go on it. The theming in the line, in the queue,
right?
Top notch.
The theming, if we're doing a show on Orlando's top queues, I will say that this one, it might be a surprise, but this would probably be in my top 5.
Oh, it's up there.
It's a fantastic queue. Yeah.
Sets the stage 100%. It feels like like you're where you're supposed to be, the setting. Yeah. But then you get on the ride that potentially you could wait in line for an hour, especially on a hot day. It can even be longer because all these people want, and the ride's over in no time. And clearly just was like okay, let's instead of going a straightaway here, we're just going to put a turn right back into the back into the loading zone. It's done. Yeah. So I look at one of the ones that, and I don't like this ride either, I will say, but it's definitely a better example of this type of ride. Popeye Bluto's Bill Trap barges.
Right. AKA the shower.
Yeah. This is unapologetically just soaks you.
By the time you go around the first curve, you're soaked. It's immediate. Yeah.
It is one of the most ridiculous versions of this ride I've ever been on. It just kept it just wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
This, the thing, it's fast. It speeds down these rapids. Rapids are coming into the boat. Forget the
Right.
little protector thing in the middle of the boat. That thing
Right.
flooded. Like, and going up the ramp where is the actual washing of the
Oh yeah,
car
the
wash
boat wash. The boat
oh my
wash.
gosh,
That's
you're
ridiculous.
so, it is 100% hosing you down. I
Yep.
couldn't believe it. Anyways, but this ride is I believe at least 30 at least 30. I'm gonna say, I'll look this up later, but at least 30 to 40% longer
Oh yeah.
than Cali River Rapids.
I think even more
Theming
than
is
that.
nowhere near as good, but I mean, they did it that long,
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I like the theming on Popeyes. I think they did a good job because there's animatronics and there's features that you go through and as one thing about Popeyes that's great because of the length is you come around especially when you come around to that boathouse. There's a surprise around every corner.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, every surprise is going to get you soaked. You come around to Popeyes to the ship and there's people on the ship shooting water down on you.
Sprayed at you.
And you come around and when you come around to the boathouse, you're like, oh my God, this is just plain ridiculous now. And then when you get to the top of that boathouse and you go down like the waterfall or whatever they call it, right?
Oh my God.
It is just absurd. All right. And you are soaked. But that's what these rides are all about. And Kali River Rapids, which I think was supposed to be called Tiger River Run at the start, was going to have tigers there.
Oh, that's right.
And you and I have spoken about this before. If you're going to design a don't start out with $100 million budget and then make it a $50 million attraction because it's not good. Start at 50 million and design your attraction around that budget, and you'll have a much better result. But Disney frequently does this. It seems like they start at $100 million, and then the accountants come in and they're like, "Oh no, you're not going to spend $100 million on this ride. We're going way over budget now in this park." And they take half the budget away, and you end up with something like Kali River Rapids, something that could have been so much better if they knew the budget from the start. Because you're cutting things out, and you're like, well, we're not going to go to the drawing board. We'll just cut this out, and we'll cut that out. That's not good.
Exactly.
Go back to the drawing board and start from scratch. But they can't do that at that point because then you'll run the budget up again.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah, we've discussed this a whole bunch of times. That's clearly what happened here.
Yeah.
Because I think there's actual. I'll have to look again because it's with all the stuff I look at on the internet in regards to this. I think that land was all there. They just didn't put the ride there because they had to budget cut. That land was starting to be developed for that, and then it was cut. Yeah. It's super lame.
So Disney now has of all the Rapids rides in Orlando, theirs is by far the worst because Infinity. I don't know if you haven't been on Infinity Falls, but it's way better than Kali River Rapids. So Infinity Falls and Popeyes, they're way better. So
way better.
Yeah, and it's like I say, it's a missed opportunity because if Disney started out with a lower budget instead of cutting the budget halfway through, then maybe the ride
work right into that.
Yeah, and you'd have a ride that lives up to the queue because the queue's fantastic.
Agreed. Yep. So there you go. That's my number 5. I'm glad to see that you're in agreement with that one.
I am. It's not on my list.
It's controversial, but there's people who love that ride, and I'll give it to them. That's fine. Like that, but knowing what I know the potential of that ride, and then going on it, and I was like, huh. Yeah. Okay. And like I said, I hadn't been on it recently, and I didn't even know that they took out some of the theming because really that was the only that part with the the clear cut forest with the all on fire and stuff. That was kind of cool, but it really lasted.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't. And honestly, Gary, it lasted 30 seconds. I haven't been on it that much lately either because it's something that I skip. Because if I'm going to get wet, I want to see something. I want to see something good.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Ripsaw Falls.
Ripsaw Falls. I seem to have lost my train of thought.
Well done, sir.
But then another one of the Islands of Adventure trifecta that gets you absolutely soaked. Absolutely soaked.
Yep.
But
So that's my 5. Unless you had more unless you're on board, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
No, I agree. Yep.
cool.
Not on my list, but I agree with you. So we'll move on to my number 5. My number 5, I don't think is going to be very controversial. When Gary and I first discussed this list, we said we were not going to include any spinner rides, the Dumbo style ride, because our list would be completely populated with this ride. Because let's face it, okay, these are carnival rides. They don't,
Yeah.
That being said, I told Gary I wanted to include this one for a specific reason. And it's the Magic Carpets of Aladdin in Adventureland at the Magic Kingdom. Opened in May 2001. Nothing against Aladdin. It's probably my favorite Disney movie. If you push me to the wall and said, what's your favorite? Aladdin would probably be it. But the backstory of this attraction. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Disney, in all their promotional material, you remember this, Gary, would use Dumbo. Dumbo would be in everything, right? Oh, yeah, Dumbo. We talked about it in a previous podcast, right? So kids would see Dumbo, and when they go to the Magic Kingdom, they had 2 requests. I want to ride Dumbo and see Mickey Mouse. So Dumbo was in the middle of Fantasyland at the time. Of course, it has a very small capacity. It's a cycle ride. It stops. Everybody has to get off. All the new people have to load, and then it starts again. So it's got a super low capacity, and it would always have hour-plus waits, usually more than an hour. Yeah. And the line was, they had an awning over the line, but it really, for the most part, was incredibly hot, horrible to wait in. So the Disney knew they had to do something about Dumbo. And they decided, instead of eventually building another Dumbo, which they did eventually do, they decided to put the Magic Carpets of Aladdin smack dab in the middle of Adventureland Plaza. Now, Adventureland was laid out by the Imagineers to be a certain way. And to have this aberration in the middle was not what they intended. Okay?
Yeah.
This thing,
I absolutely agree.
It changes all the sight lines, changes the traffic flow immensely, and basically ruined Adventureland, which to me, that was my favorite land, and they dropped this thing right in the middle of it, and it's like, of course, it's not. Another thing about it is, I don't know if they thought this through, but it wasn't Dumbo. The kids wanted to ride Dumbo. It spins like Dumbo, but it's not Dumbo,
Kids
and I think
want a spin ride.
Right, they wanted Dumbo
specifically.
Right, because that was what they were using in their promotional materials and advertisements.
Parents wanted their kids' picture. Like, it has nothing to do with a flying carpet.
No, or the spinning ride. It had to do with the Dumbo ride specifically. Yeah. So what they did. I think I just had a catastrophe over here.
Catastrophe.
That was a catastrophe. Anyway. Maybe they agree about the Dumbo ride. Anyway, so it had, eventually they understood. The people wanted to ride Dumbo because they built the second Dumbo.
Yeah.
Which is,
that's kind of cool. That makes a lot of sense.
It made a lot of sense, right? So all the more reason why, Gary, I say the Magic Carpets of Aladdin has to go. Okay, it's time. You don't need 3 spinners in the Magic Kingdom. It's not adding anything right now. It's taking away from Adventureland.
I disagree. It is absolutely adding a major traffic jam.
Yes, it is.
Because people are waiting there for Jungle Cruise, and the stairs at the Jungle Cruise, and for the bongo, tiki idols and stuff.
The leaky tikis, right? Yeah, the leaky tikis. Yep.
Yep. Haley was playing that on her drums, by the way, the other day. I'll have to show you. It's kind of fun.
That's
awesome. Yeah. But it adds a massive traffic jam on busy times. It just absolute crowd strangle right there. Like, so many people in that area get stuck, and no one goes to the right. If you're headed at it, it towards Pirates of the Caribbean. If you're headed that way, No one goes to the right. You have to know that you want to go to the right or leave the tiki room.
Right.
That's the only time you get to the
Right.
right hand side of that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the tiki room, I mean, here's the thing. Of course, Dole Whip's Aloha Isle used to be up at the entrance to Adventureland if you're coming from the hub. But that was a traffic jam problem.
Another traffic
Another jam. Okay. So they moved Aloha Isle next to the tiki room where Sunshine Tree Terrace used to be. And another catastrophe.
That's awesome.
Where Sunshine Tree
I can
Terrace.
see. You're gonna pan your camera around your whole place, demolished, glass everywhere, like ripped up furniture.
You can't control a cat.
And
If you don't have cats out there, you can't tell them what to do. This is not a puppy. Puppies, you can tell, right? Exactly. Not a cat.
No.
Anyway, so yeah. So Aloha Isle is now where Sunshine Tree Terrace was. And so they're selling Dole Whips there. So that's even more busy. So people going to the right, people going to the left are going to the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's an all-out traffic mess. And of course, you got that little pass-through that goes into Frontierland. It's just, to me, it's time for the magic carpets to just go away. It's not adding anything to the Magic Kingdom. In fact, it's subtracting it. And, I'm sure Disney has a park somewhere that needs a spinner ride, and they can move it there. It won't go to waste, but, yeah, it... a lot happening here, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah, active.
It is, yeah. I've got several people around me here. Two furry ones and my wife.
What you made a good point, by the way. I would like to see this. Move it anywhere. Move it to the park, move it anywhere, enclose it, and make it something more than just a spinning ride. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do something. Do it's just a spinning ride.
Right.
We do more spinning rides. Do something. You're Imagineers. You could easily. I'm sure there's Imagineers that probably have ideas right now to.
Yeah, absolutely.
An actual cool thing. Yeah.
I'm sure there's things on the drawing board. Imagineers who already put pad to pencil, like you say, and a pencil to pad, whatever.
However they want to write.
However they want to do it, whatever order, and have something that they can do with this ride. So it's time. So that's my number 5, Gary. No, we said no spinning rides, but that one I felt was a special case.
Yeah, well, the rule of no spinning rides, like you said, it would have been 4 spinning rides and
and Cali River Rapids.
Well, no, because
for you.
Number 1,
Yeah. No, my number 1 is I despise. I really think we're going to match up on number. Where's your number 1? We know. Let's not give it away. All right.
On number 4. So
Okay.
my number 4 right now. Let's jump to my number 4.
All right,
my number 4. I'm headed to Universal Studios here.
Yeah.
The Simpsons ride.
Ooh.
I cannot stand Simpson ride.
Yeah.
I've only gone on it. Admittedly, I've only gone on it twice.
Mm-hmm.
First time I went on it because it was new. Second time I went on it because it was Halloween Horror Nights and there was no wait. And after that, I decided, you know what? There is absolutely no reason for me to go on this ride ever again. It opened on May 15th, 2008. And unfortunately, this is one of the ones that drive me insane because it replaced Back to the Future ride, which was excellent ride.
Awesome.
Absolutely love that ride. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Been on it 100 times.
Yep.
So good. Theming, everything awesome. Actual actors. The ride was awesome. Hopping in a DeLorean. You hopped in a DeLorean.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now the Simpson ride, I will tell you, it is so rough.
So we said it at the same time.
So rough.
Yeah.
My story about Halloween Horror Nights when we went on it, granted, lots of people drink a lot on Halloween Horror Nights. There's no doubt. But this woman got off the ride, and she was upset, and she was on the upper level. She was crawling off the ride. She was so motion sick, and partially could have been booze too. Yes, fine. But people getting off this ride, even kids I didn't see going up. Yeah, that was great. People are like, oh my God, I need to sit. It is absolutely insane. It's nonstop, Like,
It is. Like I say,
craziness.
whoever from Universal Creative was the tester for that ride has an iron stomach because yeah, even me, and I do have an iron stomach.
Oh, so
Even
do I.
even I, I've been on Body Wars a lot of time. There you go. You need an iron
Yeah.
stomach for that, right?
Did not
No
affect me.
problem, Body Wars.
Mission
But
Space 4 times
Mission,
in a row. Just
no
stayed on it.
problem, right? Yeah, yeah. But
Yep.
if it wasn't for the claustrophobia, Mission Space doesn't bother me at all. But The Simpsons, yes, I totally agree with you. Back to the Future, which come on, that was all. But I will say this
Oh,
about The Simpsons. The Simpsons also has a great queue video that if you are in the queue and waiting for a while is absolutely hilarious. I mean, it's so, and as does the Kang and Kodos. We're talking about spinners, the Kang and Kodos twirl and hurl or whatever they call it.
yeah.
That has a fantastic. I only waited in the line for that once, but the queue video there was fantastic. I was just cracking up the whole time. What's that?
Like, I love The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I love The Simpsons, and the ride to me, like you're mentioning the queue. Both times I didn't wait in line. Really, I was kind of blasting right through everything.
Yep.
But that's how little I remember it, because that ride was so atrocious to me that I was like, I can't, like, why did they replace Back to the Future with this thing? Like, and I love The Simpsons. I was also like, Simpsons.
Yeah. Yep.
And at first, before they had the whole Simpsons area there with Moe's Tavern, and it was
which is awesome. The Simpsons area is awesome.
Fantastic. I love that area. Yep. Duff Brewery.
Yep.
But before that, it was just there as like the Simpson ride, just kind of like thrown there. There's nothing really around it or anything. But now at least it makes a little bit more sense. But man, I loved the. It was definitely one of my favorite attractions, the Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
It was groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah.
It really was, because Disney.
First time I went on it.
It was almost like Disney came out with Star Tours, and Universal said, "Wait a minute, Disney, hold my beer, my beer."
Oh my God.
And here's Back to the Future. It was great. But it was an awesome ride, and I love Back to the Future too. I love The Simpsons, but I don't very rarely do the Simpsons ride. I'm just like you. I skip by it, walk by it a lot, and even if
I'm going for a couple beers, stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
We go for the Lard Lad donut and some Duff beers, and that's it. The Big Pink donut, which is awesome. But nope, no Simpsons for me either. But it's not on my list. It's not on my list. But
it's on my list because I was pissed. Not only that it was such a kind of a stinker as a ride, but replacing Back to the Future was just crushing to me. It's one of my favorite movies. The attraction was awesome. I loved getting in that DeLorean. The close up, it was awesome. I'll see if I can find some video of that, just in case.
Yeah. If anybody has, I have I think there's a 30th anniversary now too, of Blu-ray of Back to the Future. The 25th anniversary that I have has the entire ride and like the pre-show and everything as an extra on the Blu-ray, which is really cool because it has the thing where like Biff is knocking on the glass and stuff like that. Yeah. When you were in that little room, yeah. Cool. But anyway, so I think we're going to see this is going to be a trend between you and I, because my number 4 is going to be also a Universal attraction that replaced not just one but 2 very popular attractions. Well, I don't know how popular they were, but one of them was popular, and one of them was popular, and one of them I loved. Are you before I go on? Are you done?
I'm done. Yeah. So lay it out. All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Fast and the Furious Supercharged. Universal Studios, Florida, and it opened in April of 2018. This is a 2-year-old attraction, folks, and it's on my list, and I think it's on a lot of people's list. Okay.
This did not make my list. There's a reason this didn't make my list. Only because I had other ones that were it because the ones that stood, and you said it's a 2-year-old attraction. I've only been on it once. I went with you, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Right.
What was that? Yeah. Because and I'll let you I'll let you go through your spiel, and then I want to add stuff. So
Sure. Okay. So we'll start back from the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay. All right. At the inception of Universal Studios Florida, the park was composed largely of a lot of rides that were based on segments from the immensely popular tram tour from Universal Studios Hollywood. And the main event at Universal Studios Hollywood is the tram tour. It's like 45 minutes long. It's got a lot of different segments, and Jaws. You go by Jaws, Earthquake, the original Kong confrontation was based on. They were all based on segments of the tram tour, and even the new Kong, Skull Island, was based on a segment from the tram tour, which
it was taken directly from the tram
tour.
It
was also taken. Well, they kind of added stuff around it, but the actual segment where you're in, it's straight from the tram tour, and based on the queue and what's around it, I think the new Kong Skull Island a lot more successful than Back to the Future. So after it was announced Universal is going to build a ride based on Back to the Future, and it's going to take up not just Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review, but the disaster / earthquake area, right? And it's going to be based on
Back to the Future.
Oh, Back to the Future.
Fast and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious.
Joe, cheers.
Yes. Salud, Gary. Salud. Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
That shows you how much I love Fast and the Furious. I don't even want to speak its name. Anyway, so they say we're going to build a ride based on Fast and the Furious. So everybody's like, oh, is it going to be a driving ride, where you can, it's interactive and you can drive? Oh, how about something like Test Track, like a Test Track ride system?
Awesome.
No, they just lifted this awful segment straight from the tram tour in Hollywood, took up this room, and then added around it this awful theming of like a party bus. You're going on a party bus. And I'm like, you have got to be, everybody was just aghast at this. I mean, when I say everybody, I mean the party bus theme is like groan inducing. Okay. Right. It's like, is it not? It's like,
oh my God. It's so bad.
You roll your eyes. Bad. Like, this is so awful. Okay. The actors mailing it in, all of them. They're all mailing it. No, so terrible acting. Okay.
Special effects around the acting. So bad.
Right. Yes.
So bad.
Computer animation. Terrible. What the Kong computer animation is so good. The computer animation in this ride is awful, and the story stupid. Okay, I'm sorry.
No sense.
It's just stupid. Okay. Yeah. And what makes all of this worse is it didn't replace one attraction. It replaced two. It replaced Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review, which I wasn't crazy about, but a lot of people were.
It was good.
And it was
funny. I love Beetlejuice.
It was very popular. Yeah. And I would go see it every once in a while. And Disaster, which
Finnegan's right across the way.
Finnegan's. It's close. It's close. You got to stumble away. Beetlejuice was kind of in the San Francisco section, and Finnegan's is in New York. It's across from the Mummy more than Beetlejuice. But anyway, so Beetlejuice and then Disaster, which I think Disaster was one of the most underappreciated attractions in Orlando. Okay.
I loved it.
Yeah. Christopher Walken, the performance as Frank Kincaid, you're welcome, was awesome. I mean, he plays Frank Kincaid, a guy who's a director making disaster movies, and he's going to make a movie, and he's going to have audience participation to star in this movie, and the movie's going to be called Mother Nature, Mutha, Mother Nature.
That was awesome.
And they kept all the infrastructure from Earthquake, but then they would have audience members come in and act out certain scenes, and at the end you would ride the Earthquake for the final scene, the Earthquake tram, subway, or the BART. Actually, it's a BART in San Francisco, and then at the end, these monitors would pop out, and you'd see the scenes from the movie and The Rock was the star of the movie, and of course these audience members, and it was just freaking hilarious. Never failed to make people laugh, and it was a high capacity attraction. It was a great attraction. Like I say, I think it was underappreciated, and even the posters that were in the lobby were hilarious. I mean, we'd sit there while you're waiting for the attraction and look at the posters. So when Disaster went away, I was really kind of disappointed because it was kind of the attraction, the type of attraction like the makeup, the horror makeup show.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it had that a little bit of edgy humor that only Disney doesn't really have that kind of humor. Only Universal has that humor, right? And it was great. It was just funny. It was really funny. Yeah. And they took it away for this, I don't even know.
When I ever went on this ride, man, it was, the first time I was on it was a couple years back. It was like right after it opened. And we met up with you guys. I could not believe how bad the ride was. Yeah. And what's funny is I went through the tram tour in California, and I was like, this is exactly the same, and I hated it in California. Yeah, right. Although in California, exactly, it's just part of the tram tour. It's just part of it. This was a whole attraction. Took up all this space for absolutely no redeeming value whatsoever. Right. So bad.
In the tram tour, at least you could say, okay, it's got all these other great things. Yeah, you're seeing real movie sets and where history was made. But this is just stupid. And let's face it, right now, because of the pandemic, things are slow at Universal, and they just announced that they're going to be shutting down certain attractions while things are slow, and this is one of them. This is a 2-year-old attraction.
2-year-old attraction. Yeah.
Shocking. And they're shutting it down until things get busier. Just goes to show you what people think about it.
Yeah. It's terrible. I totally agree. And like I said, the only reason it didn't make my list because my list went through a couple renditions, and some went in, some came back. It depended on how I felt, how angry I was feeling about these rides at the time. Yeah, the Simpson one kind of made me angry, but my number 2 really makes me angry because there's a whole story behind my number 2 here, and it really irritated me. So
I understand the Simpsons because it replaced a ride that you love and I love too. I understand that this replaced a ride I love. So this is going to be, I think, a common thread in these top 5s. Not only are these bad, but they took away good rides in order to build these stinkers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So that's number 3.
Yeah, moving on.
Might be another controversial one, but here we go. The conservation station at Rafiki's Planet Watch drives me insane.
Guess what? Gary,
is it your number 3?
Gary, the conservation station is not my number 3, but the Wildlife Express train to the conservation station is my number 3. Conservation station, I'm okay with. Train.
I'm not even okay with that. The train ride drives me insane also, and I added it. Yeah. The very first thing, this Wildlife Express train drives me absolutely insane because it's the only way to get back and forth from it. Drives me crazy. There's absolutely no reason for this thing. Or at least, you know what, if you want to ride the train, absolutely fine. But give me a path to get back. I don't want to wait for this stupid train.
Give me something to look at on the train.
That too.
You're looking at the backs of buildings.
You look at the bushes in the backs of buildings.
And the backs of buildings.
It's great.
So yeah, go ahead.
And those bushes were put there on purpose. They're mats. They're like bushes made into mats so that you can't see what's going on.
Well, yeah, it's like you're taking me on a train ride and you don't want to show me anything. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
But
so yes, Wildlife Express train drives me crazy. Mm-hmm. Totally ridiculous that this is the only way you can get to the Planet Watch.
Absolutely. I
did a little research on this, like when I was putting together this list, and somehow TripAdvisor rates this 4 out of 5 stars. I don't understand. Like what? This little excursion part can take like 2 hours out of your day. just
Yeah.
getting stuck,
Here's
with the stupid train.
Here's the
Go
thing.
ahead.
I was going to say there's a petting zoo there. So kids like the petting zoo, I'm sure. And
Yep,
and
without
and
it.
there are things to see at Conservation Station. But when I did a little research with the Wildlife Express, when Animal Kingdom was first conceived, this was supposed to be a train ride around the savannah, which of
Yeah,
course was
which
directly lifted from Busch Gardens,
awesome.
Tampa, right? Okay.
That's fine because of course
Which would have
Tampa.
been amazing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I love that Tampa train ride.
Right.
Loved.
Loved, right?
Yeah.
So they said they shelved it because of concerns about animal safety. Well, the Busch Gardens Tampa's been running that ride since 1971. I don't
Yeah.
remember any animals getting injured or anything. Just it's fine. Just say it's budget cuts, okay? This was
Yeah, it's a
budget cuts,
budget
okay?
cut.
This
Yep,
was a budget cut,
exactly.
okay? Because they're running Kilimanjaro safari buses around that savannah one after another, and they're not too worried about animals there. I mean, people stop, animals are there. Animals are not going to walk in front of a train. So, it's
Yeah.
not just,
Yeah,
and it's,
well, not more than once.
well, the buses are going fast. The train,
Yeah.
like the Busch Gardens train doesn't move fast. It goes really slow. So, yeah,
In the defense, though, the buses have hit animals a couple times. In the very beginning, there was a couple storks that only walked in front of that truck once.
They only walked in once. All right. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
There was a few things, but I totally agree. It's budget cuts, 100%. Yes, there was like people were starting to go crazy because of the animal safety thing, but it's not specifically because there'll be a train.
Right.
Put up a shoddy fence if you need to keep the animals away from the train. Fine.
Right.
Yeah.
How about a little moat, a tiny moat?
Yeah. Anything. Right.
Anything.
Keep the train going. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Crazy. Wildlife Express train. It's an express. Yeah, there's nothing express about it.
The train to nowhere, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. The train to the dead end. Oh, crazy.
Yeah. And so, like you say, I think a lot more people would visit Rafiki's Planet Watch or Conservation Station if they could walk there and walk back, or at least walk there or take the train there and walk back, something. Because like you say, this is a 2-hour, budget. If you're and you don't have and remember, Animal Kingdom used to be a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. park until Pandora opened. So it's only been recently that the park's open to 6, 7, 8 o'clock. It was a 5 o'clock park. So 2 hours out of that day.
2 hours is a big chunk of time.
Yeah. That's a lot of time. So I don't know.
So I did like some of the things that are at the Rafiki's Planet Watch, and these are the things like, yes, okay, like sort of an attraction, but it's like walking into any. To me, it's like walking into any other zoo, and I know Disney hates the word zoo, but for me, it's like walking into
zoo.
Another
it's
museum.
not a zoo.
Yeah, any of that stuff, because it's so oddly laid out. Like if everything's on the outskirts, a big center area. The veterinary treatment room, which never has anything in it.
Not usually.
I want to see a procedure. I don't want an animal sick, but I want to see checkup procedures. That'll be great. Right. Nutrition center, which never has anything in it. A bunch of blenders, a bunch of like super worms. Okay. Mm-hmm. Fine. They had those little windows with the lizards and stuff. Okay. Nothing different that I can't see basically at like PetSmart.
Right. Yep.
Now,
I agree.
This is one of the things that drives me crazy, they say, as an attraction. It's habitat habit. The walking from the train to Rafiki's Planet Watch, they say, is an attraction. Habitat habit.
It's Florida bushes. Florida bushes.
Florida bushes and a couple signs that say, like, some things conceal themselves. Camouflage and stuff. But the only redeeming value of this, as you know, is the petting zoo, because I love goats.
Yeah, the petting zoo is great. The petting zoo is great, and it's always fun. And it's a shame that last time we were at the petting zoo, I kind of found myself feeling bad for the animals because not enough people get to come see them because it's so isolated out there in Rafiki's Planet Watch. It's like, and let's face it, for a while, in order to draw people out there, what would they do? They would put a rare character. So people would line up and get an autograph from that. They would take the
Thumper's
train.
girlfriend, remember that?
Right. Yeah.
People
Exactly.
were crazy. Thumper's
Right.
girlfriend. The line's
Right.
2 hours long for
Right.
Thumper's
Otherwise,
girlfriend.
nobody's riding the train.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. Our
Yep.
threes matched up.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked by that because
I'm not shocked either, because I'm thinking maybe our other ones, or at least one of our other ones, is probably going to match up too. So
my number 2 and number 1, I'm both hot about. They both made me so angry. I hate these rides exist, and I'm wondering about my number 2 to see if it like matches with you, because I know. All right. So, anyways, let me finish the Wildlife Express train.
Okay. All right.
Just to sum up, such a disappointment that it was a budget cut that basically cut this train to just be transportation to a dead end that you get stuck at until you need to come back on the same boring train.
Right.
Makes no sense. Drives me crazy. The whole conservation station, I get it. Like it makes sense.
Absolutely. But
sort of great, but just not fun. There's so much other things to see instead of getting trapped on this.
Yeah, and I'm guessing.
Go pet goats.
Go pet the goats. I'm guessing the exhibits might be better if they had more traffic there, and if they would have more traffic if they just had a way to walk there and walk back, and had the train going around the savannah where it should have been. So we fixed everything, Gary. So that's it. Yeah, we can now move on to your number 2.
Give us a call, Disney. We'll
totally fixed.
Got it all figured out.
How many have we fixed today?
Quite a few. How many we fixed over the course of us talking? We fixed all of Disney.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to my number 2. Ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Makes me mad, this ride. It's Antarctica, Empire of the Penguin.
You know what, Gary? When we were doing this,
like this ride, I'm hanging up.
When we were doing this, I had a feeling you were going to put this on your list, and I don't say I like it, but I do kind of like it, and I will tell you what the redeeming. Go ahead. You say I'll give you my
redeeming value of this, because there is one.
The redeeming value of this is the amazing penguin exhibit at the end.
That's it.
And the second redeeming value of it is I give SeaWorld major props for being the first park in Orlando to have a trackless dark ride.
That's
they wasted it. They wasted it, but I will give them props for that.
They absolutely wasted it. It opened in 2013, opened in April of 2013, soft opening. It was the first trackless ride. I think that was awesome. Yeah. Like, it was great. It's one of the reasons I wanted to ride it, because it was like a trackless ride. I needed to see what that was. It's very cool. The technology is very cool. The ride is so terrible. So, I mean, basically you just, in an open room, kind of like drive around a little bit and look at little videos of this penguin that's just like oddly floating in air. I don't really get it until you get to the end, where there's a big screen and there's just like a bunch of penguins kind of doing their penguin-y things, and that's it. And then it goes in parks. What a waste of the first 3 minutes or whatever. I think the ride, I forget, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, 3 minutes and 40 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely no value to this whatsoever. So so much potential.
So much potential. So
make it ice-like. Like there's ice, but it's like you're in a spaceship or something. I don't even know what those ice things hanging from the ceiling are supposed to be. There's not ice.
Yeah.
Very odd. Very odd.
They kind of reached for the stars and blew the entire budget on the ride system, which is, so basically the ride is you're following a little young penguin. I think the name of the penguin is Puck, right? Is that the name of the penguin, Puck? Yeah, Puck. We'll say that, whatever. Puck, it doesn't matter at this point. So I had another Puck. Name for him. You follow Puck on screens. Of course, it's on screens because they blew the budget of the ride on the ride system. It's on screens. The ride system is great. It does a little dancing and stuff like you can do with these trackless dark rides. But really, basically, the ride is all on screens, and then you park and you get out and go to this absolutely amazing penguin exhibit with real penguins. It's cold. It's free. I was there last time we were there. We went in. Of course, we bypassed the ride, went straight to the exhibit. It was dusk at the time, and it was dusk. Well, I think because it's summertime, whoever it is, the lighting always matches what the penguins would get in their natural environment. So it was really dark in there, but like this kind of like orangey dark. It was great. I mean, it was really, it almost looked like my pictures look almost sepia toned when I took them. So cool. Yeah. And I mean,
you have to send those to me. I'll have to put a couple up so they can see it.
I will. Yeah, I'll send you some pictures because I took a few pictures. But it's the penguin exhibit is top notch. And if you haven't done the ride, do it once, whatever. But and if the ride is short, I like the ride system. I will say I like riding around in the ride system. It's a 5-minute wait. I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna do the ride. But if it's if it's an hour, don't wait.
One of the reasons one of the reasons that irritated me on this ride was we had the fast passes, but it was a single. SeaWorld does it like single ride, they scan you and that's it. You're on for the day. That's it. So we got scanned and we skipped the whole line, which was about an hour and a half or something at that point. It was massive. And if you know where the fast pass entrance is or whatever they call it, it's right there. Like quick you queue. Just walk right in. Yep, quick queue. So you just walk right in. And the person directed us and said, come over here, this side. So we went into the far left side, which skips the ride. It's just walking right in. So we walked right in and we're like, well, wasn't this supposed to be a ride? So we looked at the penguins and stuff. I was like, that's cool. Maybe the ride's next thing. But, obviously the next thing is the exit.
The next thing is the end,
the person that scanned our thing. And we're like, we were, told to go this way. We didn't get on the ride at all. She's like, you're really going to have to wait in the line. I'm like, oh. So,
no.
Right. So I'm thinking, that you're like, I haven't been on the ride, so we're gonna wait an hour and a half for this. I'm like, all right, forget it. The person behind her goes, no, don't. She hand wrote like her initials and let us go back on. She said, make sure you get on the ride this time. Tell the guy, don't make you good, So we got on the ride, and I was like, why?
If I waited an hour and a half, I would be mad.
I would have been throwing over these ride vehicles. I was so disappointed. What a waste of time to even have this conversation. And then I was like embarrassed that I was like, oh, all right. Like I should like this guy clearly doesn't know what this ride is because it's terrible. Oh, it's so bad. We went on the ride up like you said, as scientific ride vehicle exploration. Fantastic. Really super cool. Trackless ride systems are the coolest things. Like you said, they like a bunch of them get together and a bunch of the ride vehicles get together and do like a dance type of thing.
Yeah.
But man, this absolutely waste. Right when I got on that, we turned the first corner and you're in that room with all those, like I said, those supposed to be like ice. You're in an ice cave, but it doesn't look like any ice cave. There's like lights flashing and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like so. So, anyways. I hate it, right?
Okay, he hates it.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with it. I certainly won't say I love it, but I love the exhibit and I like the penguins. So
at the end with because you're right at water level and stuff. It's awesome. Yeah, absolutely awesome. Super well done.
And Gary gave a good tip for SeaWorld, talking about quick queue. If you're going to SeaWorld and SeaWorld's a big priority of yours, if you stay at one of the partner hotels of SeaWorld that are around at the Hilton Vacation Club, the Hampton Inn, or any of those hotels that are across the street, the Renaissance, there's a couple others, they will give you quick queue for free. You get free quick queue, so you just go to the front desk, say, I want my quick queue. It's a SeaWorld partner hotel, and you get a day's quick queue. But you only get one ride, one time per ride. Yeah.
It's awesome. Totally worth it.
Yeah, it is. It's really well worth it for sure.
So, absolutely.
Because not everything has a long line at SeaWorld, but Infinity Falls usually does. The Penguins do. Journey to Atlantis usually has a line. Mako's usually got a short line because it's terrifying. But
Yeah. It's got massive capacity. It's absolutely terrifying.
Exactly. And it's in the bark. It's in the back of the park. So yeah, in the back of the park.
It's in a weird spot. I wish it was in a better spot.
I agree. Yeah, it's such a great ride, and it's kind of hidden back there. So, all right.
Well, that's my number 2.
Gary, number 2.
I can't stand that ride.
So our number 2s are not going to match up. Our number 3s did. Yeah. My number 2, I'm going back to Disney World. I'm going to probably my favorite park, Epcot, and it's going to be Journey into Imagination with Figment. And okay, so where do I begin with this? Okay,
yeah.
All right. Where do we begin? This is a long saga. Okay, we're not going to go through the whole thing, but and I think we kind of have in other podcasts.
Yeah.
So this ride is the 3rd iteration. It replaced the truly atrocious Journey into Your Imagination, which was only open for 2 years before Michael Eisner took his famous ride and said, "What the heck did you do with my money? Redesign this ride. It's terrible."
It's too long.
And, which that ride replaced the classic and sorely missed Journey into Imagination, the original ride with Figment and Dreamfinder. Absolute classic Disney dark ride, one of the very best. R.I.P. The public opinion of this ride is generally negative. It usually has no line. They closed the 2nd iteration after Michael Eisner said, "Redesign my ride," and they kind of inserted Figment in, and the song just One Little Spark basically is what it is, and it's the same ride with those 2 elements in it, and it's bad. Let's face it, it's bad. I mean, you're supposed to go in and test your supposedly you're testing your senses, but every test of your sense except for the butterfly that disappears and reappears, the rest of them are just like these static, ridiculous props. I mean, it's
it's bad. It is absolutely bad.
Yeah.
Knowing what it was before with Dreamfinder and Figment and a coherent story and fun and just excellent merchandising opportunities.
Right.
It was great. Everyone loved the ride. It was problematic. We know that there was technical difficulties with it, but changing it into what it was for a little bit and then what it is now, this thing absolutely. And it's always on the conversation about being redesigned or taken out totally.
Constantly up for I think the latest rumor is it's going to be something to do with Inside Out, which would be fine. Anything would be fine.
Yeah.
And anything would be fine. Yeah. Anything would be fine. So it stars Eric Idle from Monty Python, again, who also was in the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience movie. Except in this ride, not movie, I think he doesn't seem to be having the kind of fun. I think the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, I don't think he was originally supposed to be in that. And there's kind of a spontaneity into it.
Ad-lib the parts.
Yeah, and this one, it's like he's kind of mailing it in a little bit. And I don't think he really, I could tell he didn't really maybe enjoy acting with Figment, who wasn't really there. Obviously, he's an animated, figure.
Yeah.
And then you
can tell.
And the Figment voice still always throws me off because the original voice of Figment was Billy Barty. And of course, he passed away when they did this ride. And whoever does the Figment
passed away. He passed away when they did this ride.
Well, before they did this ride.
I'm out of here.
They're lucky I didn't pass away when they did this ride. Or I'm lucky. Anyway, so yeah. Sound the same. No, it's not. It doesn't sound like Figment. And
sort of like over the top on purpose kind of thing. Like I don't
split
it. It's too
exactly. You got it right.
Yeah.
It's over the top on purpose. Exactly what you said. Yeah. Over the top on purpose. Almost like I'm going to be more Figmenty than Billy Barty was, which
something like that.
Not possible. He is Figment. So
he is.
Was Figment. So this ride is just altogether bad, and it's time for Disney to redesign it, put something else there. You know, it's a waste. And in the theater next door, okay, Pixar, film festival. Well, not really. Yeah. I
Get
mean,
back, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. I love that ride. That was
put,
good. That
yeah,
attraction. That was
put
awesome.
it was put Honey I Shrunk the Audience back there. What's the Pixar Film Festival? All those things are all those.
I got that at home.
Oh, right. Which is another thread. We're going to go in my top one. I don't know if it's in your top one too. If it's available at home, don't sell it to me at a theme park because I don't want to see it.
No.
So yeah. So the whole Imagination Pavilion, is, except for the DVC Lounge, is a failure to me right now. Yeah. Oh, and the bathrooms. The best bathrooms. Stay on the bathrooms. Don't give the secrets out.
Are there even bathrooms there?
What bathrooms? No, if you're
another
looking for,
anyways,
yeah, it's another podcast.
Yeah, by far the best bathrooms in all of Epcot.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Yep. Because they play the original Imagination loop, the loop with all the original music, and nobody knows they're there. So
just way in the back, it seems like you're getting into the cast area, and
yep,
there they are.
And look on the left, and there's a restroom. There's a restroom. Yep. Almost backstage.
Yep. So yeah, I totally agree with you that this didn't make my list only because, again, I was getting angry about the other one. So, and my number one was
understood. You have all worthy ones for the list. I totally agree.
All right, so should we move on to number one here?
Yeah, let's move on to number one. See if we match up again.
I
think we are, because you haven't mentioned this yet, and I haven't either. So let's just say this is the numero uno stinker in Orlando.
Let's see if we match up. I'm headed to Universal Studios.
Me too.
And it's Shrek 4D.
You bet.
Oh my God.
It certainly is.
When I watch people wait in line for this ride, I just want to warn them all. I just want to just be like, you know what? You may be a Shrek fan. That's fine. Don't go on this ride. It is so bad. It is just bad. And this is one of the rides, not because of budget issues, but because of what it replaced partially. Yes. Not just that the ride is bad. Mm-hmm. But it replaced Alfred Hitchcock, The Art of Making Movies, which was one of the best attractions at Universal. Yeah. It was fantastic. Yeah, it was great.
Imagine a theme park attraction that told you how to make movies like the Master of Suspense did, right? I mean, okay, it took you through how he created his special effects before there were special effects, before there were green screens and, ILM, right?
It was great. I loved that.
Yeah, it was just fantastic.
This was one of the craziest 3Ds that I've ever seen when the, I'm not giving away anything because when the bird started pecking at the screen, breaking their way through the
coming
screen.
Out of the
First
screen,
time I saw that, I was like, put my 3D glasses down for a second.
That is just fantastic.
It was unbelievable. It was so well done. That whole attraction was great. The after, when you're walking through all that stuff.
Everything, even the walkthrough parts at the end.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Very, very.
The walkthrough exhibits at the end. And that part with the birds at the beginning, that alone was better than Shrek 4D. That by itself. And there was a lot more to this attraction than that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just that way blows away Shrek. So Shrek is 16 minutes long. That's what
I saw that. I did that. Yeah, I saw that in my research. Yeah, and it seems like 60 minutes when you're sitting in. That's for sure.
It's so bad. This is a 3D film. They call it 4D because you're sitting two chairs that are connected to each other so that there could be motion, but the motion doesn't really track well. It's not like full motion. It's just two chairs, almost something that you can get like at a mall.
Bouncing and vibrating.
Yep.
Bouncing and vibrating.
Back. Yep.
And this is supposed to be 4D, right?
Yeah. Well, they spray water at you.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's so original. Spray water at you. Yeah. I mean, this ride, Universal, it was at Universal Orlando, Universal Hollywood, Universal Studios Japan, Singapore, Warner Brothers Movie World in Australia, and Movie Park Germany.
Yeah.
And it's on the Shrek DVD. So they got their money's worth out of this stinker. So let's get it out of the park. It's time to replace it.
Else.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
God.
But it's thankfully it's gone from most of those places. But for some reason, they still have it at Orlando, which is like they need the space. You're looking to open some new stuff. Get that thing. Why didn't they replace,
There's a lot of space.
instead of taking out Disaster, take out this stinker for Fast and the Furious? I would love Fast and the Furious if it took away Shrek.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it would go up. It would have been off my list if it took away Shrek. This,
Right.
There's a couple parts in Shrek that drive me nuts too, because I've been on it enough. I have a young kid, so she liked to ride it. We've been on it enough.
Right.
But there's parts where the like the film goes one way, like the film would go to the right, but your seat goes to the left, and every single time it's jarring, and it happens like 2 or 3 times during it. And some people like in this research have noted like how rough it is because of that. Like it doesn't track the film, like it's poorly done. It's just 2 seats that kind of like bounce back and forth and sort of like lean either way to sort of simulate that you're moving. But I mentioned one of these because I'll have to read this because it kind of cracked me up. Stars. If I could give this attraction a -5 stars, I would.
I
They
agree.
really should just close it and try again with something new, something more up to date. The storyline's not good. The 4D consists of very rough seat rattling and bouncing, a few sprays of cool water. The graphics were as good as any basic 3D movie. I had to take my glasses off after 5 minutes, and I'm not typically sensitive to this type of motion attraction.
Right.
Like it's just
It's awful.
bad.
Awful. Okay.
Yeah.
And
There's- is there a better like description than it is just bad?
it's
It is just
bad.
bad. Yeah.
And
The show goes on forever.
yeah. It's terrible with the pigs.
gosh.
Oh God, it's all
It just
with the
goes
pigs.
on forever.
Yeah, and you're sitting like not sitting. No, you're standing, crunched up with a bunch of other people watching this stupid pre-show, and it's here's the thing about Shrek that drives me nuts. And I knew this when Shrek came out because everybody loved Shrek. It was DreamWorks. It wasn't Disney. It's like Shrek is not timeless. It never was good. Theme park attractions are supposed to be timeless, but Shrek is very much a product of its time. It was filled with pop cultural reference jokes that are of that time. So Shrek is done. It's time for that IP to be out of every park. I know that Universal now owns DreamWorks, but unless you're going to make new Shrek movies that are filled with jokes that don't, will stand up to the test of time. Yeah, it will age better. Right. It's nothing about Shrek makes me want to stand in line for this attraction. And this is when you ride this attraction or go on this attraction, I think you'll agree. I think most people will agree. And and God forbid when people wait 40, 50 minutes, I see the line an hour. Like you say, I really want to run up and down the street and tell people, please, the Mummy, go down there, ride that. Right? Transformers is around the corner. Go there.
Spider-Man 2. It's Transformers. Spider-Man also.
If you're looking for something funny, Despicable Me is across the street. It's funny at least. It's
a little bit better. Yeah. Was Despicable Me, by the way, was that originally Hanna-Barbera?
It was, yes. That was
the
fantastic world of Hanna-Barbera. Yep. And the ride system is the same. The ride system is the same. Yeah.
But now it's at least fun.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. There's good jokes in it, So, there's a lot better things to do at Universal Studios than this. We did the new Bourne, the Bourne show. Oh God, it was fantastic. Really good, unbelievable.
Didn't watch some of the video.
Yeah, the video doesn't do it justice because the screen technology is amazing. Apparently, the same type of screen. I haven't watched the whole Mandalorian, the making of, but apparently they use that type of screen technology when they were filming the Mandalorian. But really unbelievable. But yeah, there's better things to do at Universal Studios. Don't waste
Everything.
your time.
Stand in the street.
Everything.
Look at a wall.
Literally everything is
Go
better
get a
to be
soda.
there. Yeah. I would even say I would rather go see Fear Factor live if it was open than to ride Shrek.
It's not open anymore. Just closed.
It's not. Yes, exactly. Yep. I would sit in the closed theater and look at nothing rather than ride Shrek.
I totally agree. Yeah. Oh, so bad. Go get a beer at Finnegan's. I used to love that bar. It used to be so much better. Like, it's still a good bar, but it used to be so much better when it was
that's because they had happy hour. That made it much better.
Maybe that's part of it. Yeah.
Part of it, yeah.
So that's our number one. This by far Shrek 4D is. Do not waste your time on Shrek 4D. Universal needs to do something about that. Just get rid of this ride. Board it up. I'll be happier with one less attraction.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's not even close. Not even close. Shrek 4D by a mile. Number one. My number one. The other ones I will occasionally go to or on or whatever. But Shrek 4D, I just walk by constantly. Never go to it. Never. Unless somebody comes that has to see it. Yeah.
It makes me angry. Like, attractions not make me angry. Well, like, I hate it so much. Yeah.
I literally walk out I don't know how long it's been since I did it, but the last time I walked out, I know I was walking out going, I can't believe they took away the Alfred Hitchcock, the art of making movies for this turd. You know, basically. That's what it is.
Yeah. Was the last time did we go?
Because it might have been with you. It very well might have been with you because Haley might have wanted to go.
Yeah,
you know,
and we went. Talk her out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. Shrek fan.
I will say, Gary says go to Finnegan's instead. If you have to do Shrek with your child, go to Finnegan's before.
Finnegan's first.
Go to Finnegan's before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, so that is our number one. I had a feeling we were going to match up with that because our hatred towards this ride.
I thought so too, and I was right. So we matched up twice.
Yeah, it's funny we matched up.
They were the same. They were same numbers. Yeah. Because when I did Wildlife Express, I didn't think you would do that one. I didn't think you were going to do that. So it's kind of weird that we matched up on that one. Yeah. So. Yeah, I did think you were going to do the Antarctica because I know your disdain for Antarctica.
It's the ride. I love penguins. Yeah. Penguins are like awesome animals. I like that. But, so bad. Yeah. Yep. I'll have to throw up some video of some of the stuff I was talking about because my descriptions don't do it justice of how little it looks like an ice cave and how it looks like some sort of weird spaceship or something. I don't even know what they're going for on that yet. Yeah. Well.
Right.
So that's it. That's our top 5. We have any leftover discussion? Can't think of anything. I think we.
There was one thing I wanted to mention because we talked at the beginning about Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. I will say, throughout all of Galaxy Edge, and throughout Disney World, but throughout all of Galaxy Edge, and especially on Rise of the Resistance, it's the cast members that make the ride awesome. Especially the First Order cast members, who are amazing in that ride. So a shout out to those people. Whoever plays the First Order cast members and the Resistance cast members in Rise of the Resistance, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a great way to close out because we're always giving a shout out to all the theme park employees that are there to make you happy, and it's a tough job. It's a tough job.
Right now, tougher than usual. Yeah.
Especially now. So big shout out to all of them.
Yep.
And I guess we're at our closer. Joe.
Yep. So
got something to say?
Yeah, absolutely. In the immortal words of the great Warren Zevon, remember everybody, enjoy every sandwich.
Well said, Warren. Well said, Joe. All right. I guess we're out. So
we're out.
Have a good evening. That's nice and short, Joe.
Gary, yeah. Do we come in under 2?
Probably not. Who knows?
All right, Gary.
I didn't set my timer, so this time we just kind of went for it. So, all right, have a good evening. I think I'm gonna go make myself a martini. Got some 10 waiting for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good martini right there, my friend.
Yeah. All right.
So you're saying that you think maybe
Talk to you soon.
From
all right, take
your
care,
perspective
Gary.
Now, Do you know something about life and death that maybe I don't know now?
Not unless I know how much you're supposed to enjoy every sandwich. You know.